Greetings, greetings. Welcome to Black Women Are Dope AF, our weekly series where we are honoring Black women throughout history, our ancestral mothers who did extraordinary things that felt ordinary to them because it was necessary to do. And all of this is so that Black women today can remember that we too are dope AF. I am Barbara Ohuninifa. I am an author, a coach, and a speaker. And my work is all centered around Black women, whether it's the writing with my books, YouTube channel, Medium blogs, my coaching, everything that I do is to support Black women in recognizing that we are beautiful, remembering that we are powerful, and to being love. So that as we go into the world and our families and communities, giving in all the ways that we do so from a place of self-love. We do so from the overfill because we have nurtured and nourished ourselves. And if all of that sounds like something that is your jam, what you're interested in, what you want to know more about, if you want to find out more about the videos that I drop, the information that I share, all the things, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, share, comment, do all the things to help this channel to grow and so that more Black women can get access to this information and to the support and the inspiration because we know we need it. We need all of the sisterhood that we have for us. So thank you for being here and thank you for taking the time to learn some more or to be open to learning more about the incredible legacy that Black women have left and continue to leave. Today, again, this is a series, Black Women Are Dope AF. And today we are kind of continuing with our theme around the Haitian Revolution. Last week we talked about Cecile Fatiman or Fatiman and how she helped to kick off the Haitian Revolution spiritually and did so many things and lived to be over 100 years old. So actually survived the revolution and got to see Haiti as an independent Black nation. Today we are talking about a woman who obviously battled for freedom, who battled for the freedom not only of Haiti, but little did any of them know that they were battling for all of our freedoms because the accomplishments that they made, the fear that they set in enslavers and colonizers across the world, set in motion a series of events that actually found its way to North America and our um, uprisings amongst enslaved Africans here in the US and North America that eventually made slavery, the practice of slavery in its current form at the time, too uncomfortable to continue. Just pause on that for a minute. We weren't emancipated because it was the right thing to do. It was it was the right thing to do for their own safety. So we want to give thanks and honor to the warriors who fought for freedom in that Haitian Revolution. And today we're talking about a woman who was very not super well known, but who actually fought valiantly in that as well. So let me take a moment and just say hello to Power Dynamics for Life. Thank you for being here, Dr. Belazaire, as usual. I'll be on the lookout for any additive comments and commentary from your perspective as a PhD. I mean, I think it's your bachelor's, master's, and PhD in political science. So this understanding of the world that we're in now is critical. Yes, and the Civil War, they actually the work that was done in Haiti actually led to all the things. So we give thanks. Oh, and I'll just stating the obvious, I'm not on camera today. We are just in this full moon energy, eclipse in Virgo, and whenever that's popping off in the cosmos, your girl doesn't sleep. So we running off of what, maybe 1 or 2 hours. Y'all didn't need to see this. So I'm here doing the things, and we're gonna get into it. So I have not said her name yet. So let's say her name, Marie-Jeanne, or is it Jean? I'm gonna say Jean because It's French. Marie-Jeanne Lamartinière. We give thanks. So let's talk a little bit about who she is or who she was. So she was a Haitian warrior. Let me just go back one so we're not distracted. Okay, she was a Haitian warrior. She was born in the late 18th century. There's not a lot known about her early life. Not about, obviously, no records of her exact birth date, whether she was born enslaved or born free. So we don't know a lot, but we just know she was one of few women who actively fought as a soldier during the Haitian Revolution. Um, some accounts, again, say that she may have been enslaved or was born free, but she was married to another revolutionary officer who she actually fought alongside, Louis Lamartinière. Obviously, that's her last name as well. And it's unclear whether they had children, but again, they fought together in a particular battle that we'll talk about in a bit. And but again, like unlike a lot of women, most of the women who supported the revolution did so through healing or logistics or espionage, because we real good at like infiltrating a situation and ear hustling and finding out some things. So we were all up in it doing all of those things. But Marie-Jeanne took up arms and she fought on the front lines. Now, because they always want to compare our people to someone in in another culture, but she's been compared and referred to as Haiti's Joan of Arc. And all that means is that she was fierce, she battled, she fought, she took up arms. She did not comply with this colonizer European view of what femininity was, which actually was in her benefit on the battlefield. So let's go a little bit further. And so this battle, Crête Perot, this was a particular battle that happened in a valley. And I say in a valley, obviously it wasn't a valley, but also that vantage point of being in a valley that was important to understand. But she played a critical role in that, and it was a defining moment for Haiti's fight for independence. Again, she fought alongside her husband, and she was known for her deadly accuracy with firearms. And she could hold the line under extreme pressure. So as these Napoleon's troops were coming in, she was on the front line, and apparently she could pick them off with her shotty. She was getting them. And there were witnesses that just saw how bold and fearless she was. And she was not just a fighter, but she was a leader. She was rallying troops on the battlefield. But we'll talk a little bit more because I want to get into that battle because it's epic what happened. Um, and again, because of how she carried herself and how she led, she got respect. She got respect from soldiers and generals. There was no, oh, you're a woman, so we're not going to look at you in a certain way. They had to because she was out there fighting right alongs with them and saved a number of their asses. So she got that respect. And as usual, she was critical. She had this crucial role, but she's been nearly erased from history. Her name is not really well known. I had to do a little digging. And her legacy largely unrecognized. Again, this idea that women aren't supposed to fight or there's a certain way that you're supposed to be in your womanhood. So all of these stories, like the story of Marie-Jeanne, had to be suppressed because that doesn't fit the narrative. But we honor her today, Marie-Jeanne Lamartinière, for her work, for her service, for her battle, for her fierceness. Let's talk a little bit about this battle of Crête Perot, and I'm probably butchering that, but y'all get the point. So this was in March 1802, and it was a defining moment. And so there was a fort that was strategically located, and it was a stronghold in this valley in Saint-Domingue, which is a modern-day Haiti. It was Saint-Domingue back then. And the main general at the time, Jean-Jacques Dessalines, led a group of revolutionaries to fortify and defend that area, that fort, against invading French army. Now, the French army was led by a man who, his name doesn't matter. We're not giving him that kind of shine, but he was Napoleon's brother-in-law. So this was personal, and it was a siege battle. The Haitians were outnumbered. The French sent over 2,000 troops, cannons, and warships in this massive attack, which they expected it to go very easily. The Haitian forces were outnumbered. There were less than 1,300 of them. So we already have almost 1,000 differential between, give or take, because these are historical numbers. Numbers get lost in translation. But the point is, the Haitian forces were outnumbered and outgunned, and they had to use their knowledge of the terrain to fight back. Now, Marie-Jeanne fought alongside her husband, and she played this crucial role. And they said that she fought with both a rifle and a sword. So it wasn't just at a distance. She was coming up on people, and as they came up on her, and fighting toe to toe with the sword. And also rallying the troops and just in the thick of combat, having people, helping people to be inspired, helping people, watch their six and all the things, in the midst of not only taking care of herself and fighting directly, but helping others. And as well as, helping with the healing and things like that as needed, as there were people that were injured. But she was doing the thing. Now, the siege intensified and there were casualties on both sides. The revolutionaries endured relentless bombardments and there were waves of French assaults. And again, the French expected an easy victory, but it wasn't. They suffered big losses, disease, hunger, and they didn't expect the Haitians to be so resistant. They didn't expect the Haitians to fight with the fire that they had. I don't know why they were fighting for their lives, but this European mediocrity will have people, as we can see now in current times, thinking outlandish things about themselves and what they can accomplish, and underestimating the people that they are oppressing. But I digress. The Haitians refused to surrender. They kept it moving. So the attack started on March 4th. By March 24th, the Haitian resistance fighters knew that they couldn't hold the fort any longer. So the General Dessalines ordered a midnight breakout. So what does that mean? They didn't surrender. While under heavy fire, they fought their way out of the fort and escaped to the mountains. I want to pause on that for a minute. They knew they couldn't win, but they said, we still not giving up. We're going to fight our way out and escape, because they knew the terrain, and they knew the terrain far better than any of these troops that had just gotten there and that were already weakened. They fought their way out and hid in the mountains so that they can continue fighting, which they did, so that they could stage another attack in different ways. That is that is brilliant strategy. Understanding it, and one that we can, I know we're going to get to the point when we're talking about the wisdom and the lessons, but that's one right in there to understand in our own personal lives when we're going down a path and it seems like it's not working. It's not about giving up, but it's about retracting or finding another path so that you can go at it a different way. And they did this with groups and groups of people under siege, fighting for their lives. They did that. That's brilliant. Um, but it was an important time. So eventually, the French occupied the empty fort. But it was like, what'd you win? They had been so decimated. They were so broken. They had lost so many of their troops. There was so many heavy casualties on all fronts. So they gained this empty fort for what? What'd you get? You didn't defeat the people. You just got a structure that no longer serves a purpose. And so the Haitian fighters, they regrouped and they continued their fight for Haiti's independence. And this was a crucial point, and it proved that the Haitian forces could go toe to toe with Napoleon's army. The arrogance of the French soldiers that arrived there, thinking that they could just overcome these, they They believe their own propaganda, is what I'm trying to say. And this battle proved and gave inspiration to the Haitian army. And we thank Marie-Jeanne Lamartinière for her role in this, because together they exposed Napoleon's inability to regain control of the colony. This set a shift to them eventually winning independence 2 years later. So Marie-Jeanne Lamartinière, her role again as one of few known women warriors, she fought on the front lines, charging into battle, firing weapons, rallying the men. She was fearless, and her combat skills were on point. Sharpshooter and with the sword. So we give thanks for her work and for her courage. So let's talk about why she is dope as fuck. I was trying to decide if I was gonna cuss or not, but I cuss, so that's what we're doing. Um, so why is she dope as fuck? She was a fearless warrior. She defied all the expectations based on Black women. We could say in the world then, but we can say in the world now. People underestimate Black women. They eat, from one extreme to another. Either we just like hyper masculine in their minds if we have any type of power, or we're thought of as just weak and submissive. But Marie Jean, she stood on the battlefield, rifle in hand, and she fought for our freedom. She wasn't sidelined. She wasn't relegated to some other role because they felt that that was the only one that she could fulfill. She fought, she strategized, and she led. Her presence shattered the whole idea that war and resistance were only for men. And on top of that, she fought Napoleon's army head on. She stood strong. The French army was one of the most feared in the world at the time, just to understand that context. This is why Napoleon had so much arrogance. I mean, that and, he had some size deficiency issues. But the French army was known and was, oh, yes, let me go back for a minute. And Black women also seen as sexual conquest. They fetishize us in so many ways, it's ridiculous. So, but yeah, the other reason why she's dope AF is that she fought Napoleon's army, and Napoleon's army was one of the most feared in the world. And she faced bombardments, bayonet charges, and just these overwhelming numbers that would have anyone just kind of freeze. But she held her ground and she fought until the last moment. And even as the fort fell, she fought her way out with the rest of the troops, never surrendering, never stopping. And yes, living to fight another day. And that is what they did strategically. The other thing that makes her dope as fuck is that she commanded respect from generals and soldiers. She proved that leadership has no gender. Her essence, they witnessed what she did on the field. And I don't even know if they were necessarily bought into this colonizer's view of what women could do or not do when we're talking about the enslaved Africans. But if they were, she dispelled that notion with how she performed on the battlefield, supporting them and helping them to support each other. So they treated her as an equal. She was a fellow revolutionary, and they respected her courage and looked to her in battle to help lead them. She wasn't allowed to fight. She made it impossible to ignore that she was going to fight. And we give thanks for her. And the other reason why she is dope AF is that she holds for us, um, she is proof that Black women have always been at the forefront of revolution and liberation. We've been talking about it. We started talking about this during Black History Month, and some of the ancestors that we activated and talked about and honored during that series. And it continues. Black women have always been at the forefront. The question or the issue has been that as history goes forward, our roles have been erased or reduced down to a singular, one dimensional aspect of what we did as Black women. But Marie-Jeanne's story proves that we have always been warriors. She didn't just fight for herself, she fought for generations of Black women that would come after her. She fought for us here today, just like we're all being called to fight in some way or capacity, whatever is in alignment with who we are as individuals. We are being called to stand up and fight against the tyranny that we are facing today in 2025. The insane tyranny that we are facing today in 2025. I'm pause there for a second. Her role, her legacy, what she did for us is really a call to action as we face not necessarily the exact same situation. We don't have French troops. We don't have troops coming yet. I'm pausing like that intentionally. But we do have a lot of aggression. We have the same type of colonizing, if not even worse, actually, um, colonizing policies and actions that are being taken against us. And not only Black people, but of course, Black people will be the ones most devastated by the changes that are attempting to get taken place. But, we got to keep fighting. Things are happening, things are working. But back to Marie-Jeanne Lamartinière, we give thanks because she showed us all one of the many different ways that as Black women we can show up and that we've always been there. And us getting involved, us being at the forefront is not a new thing. And we give thanks for her, Marie-Jeanne Lamartinière. So let's talk about her wisdom and how we can use it. First of all, the wisdom that she leaves for us is that Black women belong in spaces of power without apology, without permission. She didn't wait for acceptance or validation. She didn't wait for someone to say, oh, let's have a program and make sure that we allow women to come in ways that we think that they should come in to be a part of this. She stepped into leadership and did what she did and dared somebody to say you couldn't or she couldn't. They couldn't afford to do that. Although, we know in current times people will cut their noses off to spite their faces, aka not vote for a Black woman to be president and rather deal with absolute chaos and evil simply because there's some deep seated, embedded, I'm going to just say issues with Black women. But the wisdom Marie-Jeanne leaves for us is that Black women belong in spaces of power. A Black woman should have been in the White House. I'm just saying. And we don't need permission to lead. We need to take our place and command respect. And we need to own our power in politics, business, activism, leadership, in our lives, in our communities. Stand and own your power. And that's how we can step in, that's how we can apply her wisdom. Step into leadership, take up space, be visible. Forget about shrinking yourself. And trust me, um, this is a message that I have been working through for years. Stepping into leadership and taking up space, but more importantly, not shrinking myself. That's a lesson for all of us. And know that everything that I do on these in these programs and these videos and podcasts, I'm also speaking to myself. These are my ancestors also speaking to me to reminding me who the fuck I am. And yes, power dynamics, they fear Black women because they know who we are. We just have to remember who we are. So the next piece of wisdom from Marie, and make sure. Oh, and then in terms of stepping into leadership, what that can mean is stop playing the background. You don't need to be humble. Ooh, child, that people making you feel like you're too much. And I've received that from people who look like me for various reasons. And but that is not how you support each other. That's not how you support Black women. And she reminds us, Marie-Jeanne reminds us to take up space boldly. That means apply for that job, speak up in the meeting, start the business, run for office, especially the run for office. I don't care if it's the dog catcher or the school board or whatever it is, run for office. We need to feel every level of government and policy at the grassroots level all the way up. And the grassroots level is what's going to be important to maneuver through the chaos happening at the federal level. And depending on what state you're in, maybe even at the state level. Run for the office, apply for the job, do the thing. Unapologetically claim who you are. The other wisdom from Mama Marie is that our resistance is power. Our resistance is our power. Do not stop fighting for what you believe in. Mama Marie refused to surrender, even when she was outnumbered, even when the whole crew was outnumbered. They fought to the last minute and then fought their way out. Can you tell how like amazed I am at that? When today on different news programs, you'll see cowards who won't even go to town halls to speak to their own constituents because they don't want to be yelled at, who are saying, the Republicans saying we're going to have town halls because they're afraid to actually face the people that they're screwing over. The cowardice. Or if they don't get if they don't get claps and likes, they storm off in a temper tantrum. These are the people that's saying that they should be above everyone else. And yes, go to your town hall meetings. Thank you, Dr. Belizaire. And if you're in a Republican district and they're not holding town hall meetings, what I love finally, some aspect that the Democrats are standing up on is they're holding town hall meetings for them because the people need to speak. So show up and voice your challenges, voice what's going on, voice what's happening and how all these things are affecting your life. You have a voice. That's part of your power. Even if you don't run for office, participate. Participate in all the opportunities to have your voice heard. But the resistance is power. Our resistance is power, and we're seeing it. Um, we're seeing it in real time when we stand up, when we protest, sign the petition, do the things, show up, and then there are attorney generals across the country that are bringing lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit. So we're using the judicial system to fight. Eventually, you might have to fight in other ways, but showing up and resisting instead of just allowing them to do what they're trying to do. And so what that means and how we apply it is that we fight for what matters. Again, activism, your business, your own personal growth. Sometimes we got to fight to just grow. We have to fight to, and I say fight, as a broad term, but sometimes the fight is all internal. You're trying to change something about yourself. You're trying to change a habit. You're trying to let something go. You're trying to start something, but these limiting beliefs are stopping you from doing the thing. Your own fears are stopping you from doing a thing. Keep fighting. And fight, again, is a general term. Fight could mean being really tender with yourself internally and giving yourself the nurturing, perhaps that you didn't receive externally when you needed it. You give it to yourself. That's still fighting. Again, fight is not always an aggressive thing, but it's not giving up and trying different tactics, just like they showed us when they fought their way out of the fort and escaped so that they could reconvene and keep fighting. They found another path. They did a different thing. They pivoted. All of these are the things to think about when fighting for what matters in your life. At the micro level, meaning within yourself, out to your family, your community, out to any impact you want to have on the country or the world and humanity, because you have the power for that too. But it also has to start within you and believing in yourself. That's the ultimate never stop fighting for what you believe in yourself, your own abilities, your own power, your own worthiness. The fight starts there because that's what they're trying to take away, our own internal sense of value and worthiness. Fight for that and then let it flow out from there. Her other wisdom that she leaves behind for us, Marie-Jeanne Lamartinière, is that your name and your story matters. They trying to erase you, don't let them. Don't let them. She fought for Haiti's freedom, but her name is nearly forgotten. And that happens to too many Black women of the past and now. We have to tell the stories. We have to uplift our own heroes. We have to make sure that our legacies live on. And so, how we apply that in our own lives is that document and share your own story. Your impact is important, especially now. With all that is happening, we are in unprecedented, and we've been in unprecedented times for like 5 years now, but it's like every year things amplify and get even more crucial. This will be in history books if books still exist in the future, in whatever form they take. This is a historical moment that all of us individually need to document it because there will be a different story that will try to get told in the future. But it is the people, it is all of us, it's you, it's me, and sharing and documenting our experiences, what we're seeing, what we're hearing, what we are receiving, what's actually happening that will tell the truth to future generations. Now, I am of the belief that good will win. We will win. There will be damage that has to get healed that we have to overcome. But even with good winning, prevailing, there still will be lies being told, mis and disinformation being told. So telling our stories about this historic time that we're in will be important for future generations. So tell your story. If it's a video, a podcast, a book, a blog, do even your own journals that you just will leave to your children or to people in your family. Document your experience, share your own story. Don't let the world try to define that for you. What you say? Oh, we need to keep printing books because it's easy to erase online. That is for sure. That is for sure. And we know we got tech oligarchs that would probably are probably doing that and in the midst of doing that. So we're saying go to Power Dynamics and also go to zoning meetings to make sure you have a voice in what's built in your community. And again, go to the town hall meetings. In other words, get involved, people. This is not, we can no longer just kind of insulate and focus on your own day to day. And I know it's hard. It's hard because there's all these things happening, but you're just trying to survive. But if you can pick one thing that you can do, find out about the town halls or the zoning meetings. If you can pick one thing that you can do a month or a week, depending on your bandwidth, however that works out for you. But we need everyone to realize that they matter. Take up space, be visible. That's why showing up to the meetings, showing up to when they have an opportunity for the public to give comments, showing up, taking up space, especially as a Black woman, is critical. Fighting for what matters, your community, your family, shit, your block, your own mental health, because your resistance is power. And documenting and sharing your story because you matter, your impact matter, your story matters, who you are and your lived experience matters. And we want to hear about it. We want to know about it. The future will need to know about it. So with that, um, I want to give thanks to Marie-Jeanne Lamartinière. If you want to know more about some of the incredible battles and the legacy in the Haitian Revolution, there are, I think I have them linked in the description, videos that you can watch next if you haven't already seen them that were from the ancestor activation, where we talked about a few of the men who led the battle in different ways as well. And then there was last week in the Black Women Are Dope AF series where we talked about Cecile Fadiman. Next week we will be back. Don't ask me who we're talking about next week, but we'll be back next week talking about the next dope Black woman. And until then, definitely take good care of yourself. Take some time, get in nature. I don't care if it's just a walk around the block and looking at trees that's lining the block or your backyard. That's real. All of this chaos, it's real, but in the natural world, it's not real. These are human children on a rampage. But nature is real. Nature is there for you. Nature will support you. So get out, get some nature, get some sun, drink water, stay hydrated, and connect in with yourself so that you know what your resistance looks like, how your gifts are needed in these times. And then you ebb and flow between taking care of yourself and contributing to the struggle, taking care of yourself and advancing liberation, taking care of yourself and giving to the world from your overflow. So until next time, take good care of you and thank you for being here.